When we look at the big anime awards, you can usually predict the winners. It's always the huge fantasy epics or, I don't know, the dark psychological thrillers.
Exactly. But the Filmark's Anime Awards for 2023, there was a major anomaly there.
A huge one.
The top spot didn't go to something like Freyren. It went to Skip and Loafer, this deceptively quiet series about a high school girl who moves to Tokyo.
Which is just wild. So I think our mission today is to figure out why. Why is this story beating the blockbusters? And to do that, we really have to start with the overview.
Yeah, you have to start with the main character, Mitsumi Iwakura.
Because she is so not the typical wide-eyed country girl we always see.
Oh, not at all. Far from it. She is remarkably intense. She's from this tiny, depopulated town in Ishikawa Prefecture, and she shows up in Tokyo with this, military-grade life plan.
It really is. I mean, I was looking through, she's got it all mapped out. First, get into the top-tier Tsubame West High School. Then, graduate top of her class from TUNIV, join the Ministry of Internal Affairs to save her hometown, and then eventually become mayor.
And a little morbidly for a 15-year-old, she even has a plan for where her ashes will be scattered.
Right. But that whole rigid plan is the setup because it just immediately crashes into reality.
Immediately. On her very first day, she gets completely lost, gets sick from the commuter rush. She's basically about to fail before homeroom even starts.
And that failure is how we meet her counterpart, Sousuke Shima.
Yeah.
He's the loafer to her Skip.
He's the total opposite. On the surface, he's tall, he's popular, he just seems to sort of float through life. But that whole laid-back thing, it's a defense mechanism. He's a former child actor with a really complicated past he's trying to run from.
So you have this dynamic. Mitsumi sprinting towards a goal and Shima just sort of drifting without one. That's the setup. But I think the real fun of the series, the reason it's winning awards, is in the character dynamics.
It's what people call the Mitsumi effect.
It's such a great concept.
It is. Mitsumi is so radically sincere. She isn't trying to change people or be a hero, but her honesty just completely disarms everyone. It forces them to drop their own social masks.
Take the character Mika Igashira.
Perfect example. In almost any other high school drama, Mika would be the main antagonist.
Absolutely. The mean girl. She's calculating. She tries to use Mitsumi to get closer to Shima.
But the calculation it falls apart.
Yeah.
Because Mitsumi doesn't play those social games. She just takes Mika's fake kindness at face value and treats her like a real friend.
And after a while, Mika just gives up being fake. It's too much work.
It's too exhausting to lie to someone who is that honest. And you see it happen across the board. With Yuzuki, the guarded beauty, with Kuruma, the introvert. Mitsumi just creates this space where they don't have to perform.
Even Shima, who is so cynical about people, he has to reevaluate everything.
Right. He realizes that his whole detached act isn't cool. It's just lonely.
And speaking of that connection, we have to talk about the setting. Mitsumi's goal to save her hometown in Ishikawa. That really hit differently after January 2024.
Oh, it did. The Noto Peninsula earthquake struck that exact region the story is based on. The author's response was, it was incredible.
It wasn't just symbolic. She and the publisher donated 10 million yen. They released a special support edition to raise funds.
It really grounds the story in something tangible. Suddenly, Mitsumi's fictional goal to save her hometown feels very, very real. It shows you the series' themes of empathy aren't just, plot points.
Exactly. It reinforces this core idea that it's the connections that matter, not ticking boxes on a perfect resume.
Which is the big takeaway, really. Mitsumi starts out thinking life is a checklist, and Shima starts out refusing to even look at the list.
But the show suggests you need a bit of both. You need direction, but you have to be flexible enough to enjoy the detours.
Skips and the loaves.
Right. So, here's the thought for you to chew on. In a world that's always demanding you have a 5-year plan, this show asks a pretty interesting question. Is sprinting toward a rigid goal the best way to live?
Or are the detours, the skips, and the loafs where the actual living happens?
Something to think about. Thanks for diving in with us. We'll catch you on the next one.